The amount of effort the FBI and our partners devoted to identifying the pipe bomber cannot be overstated. It is the resolve and determination of our investigators that ultimately led to the identification and the arrest of this suspect. We all know pipe bombs are dangerous, not because of the potential loss of life, damage to property, or injury that they can cause, but also because they are tools that terrorize our community. Fortunately, these bombs did not explode, although they certainly could have. But make no mistake, the alleged pipe bomber did terrorize our community. Today's actions underscore the long memory and the long reach of the FBI and our partners. I know some people had given up on finding the perpetrator, but not the FBI and not our partners. We do not forget, we do not give up, and we do not relent. Though it had been nearly 5 years, our team continued to churn through massive amounts of data and tips that we used to identify this suspect. I want to thank Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino for their leadership and for providing us the resources and the personnel to reevaluate all of the data that we had. We dove into more than 3 million lines of data to come up with this suspect. Director Patel, Deputy Director Bongino, thank you for your support, thank you for your passion, and thank you for your investment in this investigation. From me, on behalf of the investigators, the Washington Field Office, and all of our partners, thank you. I'd also like to thank Judge Pirro. Judge, your team and you are absolutely amazing. You're the type of prosecutors and U.S. attorney that all of the investigators across the country want to work with. They're hard-nosed and they're aggressive, and thank you for that. I'd also like to thank the American public for providing tips and leads, not just on this case, but every day on cases across the country that are being solved by law enforcement. And finally, I want to commend all of the members of the Washington Field Office, and most specifically, the investigative team. Their diligence and persistence led to this arrest today, and they are absolutely, totally dedicated not only to this case, but every case they work. So thank you, Washington Field Office. Last, I will say our work is not done. The FBI will continue to pursue every lead and use every resource that we have to ensure that the D.C. pipe bomber is brought to justice. Thank you.
You keep hearing the words partnership and team, and that's what we are. And we could not do this without our U.S. Attorney, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, from day one, has worked tirelessly for our country and for our nation's capital. It's my honor to introduce my friend, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro.
Thank you very much, Attorney General. And you have been listening to a lot of thank yous and a lot of gratitude. The reason that we're thanking each other to the extent that we are today is because we have seen in this case an incredible collaboration around the clock, in the middle of the night. It doesn't matter. We call each other, we make contact, they need a warrant, they need something, someone wants legal advice. These are the men and women who never give it up. You hear about government employees, but I don't know if you really realize what it is that they do. They are incredible, and this case is big. 4 years, 10 months, and 28 days ago, an individual placed a bomb in the vicinity of both the RNC and the DNC. And for that amount of time, that individual evaded accountability. Today, as a result of the cumulative efforts of the men and women in the FBI and the police department and the Department of Justice, we are finally able to make an arrest of an individual by the name of Brian Cole. As the Attorney General has indicated, he is arrested for transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce, as well as the attempted malicious destruction by means of explosive materials. You know, folks, this case involved millions of pieces of data. And it is a huge win because it was like finding a needle in a haystack. So much of this evidence was very specific, but a lot of it was also very general. For example, there were 233,000 black end caps of the type that were used in this case. I want you to think about the fact that the FBI had to go through the sale of every one of them to try to find commonality with an individual, along with the purchase of the pipe itself, the cap ends, the wires, the steel, and the 9-volt batteries. Every one of those had to be mined and remined to the point where we were able to then connect. And make no mistake, it was this administration, it was this president who made the decision that we were going to use all of our efforts to get it done, and get it done they did. Finally, let me say this. Today begins the formal process of accountability, where this defendant will begin his journey through the criminal justice system. And I pledge to you that the United States Attorney's Office will take this case across the finish line.